Well, that sucks.
What sucks?
I look like my bolt holes are lining up.
Why would you get a hitch that doesn't fit?
I'm choosing my words carefully. Hey guys, today I got a project, and I've got a two-man project I'm going to do with one man. And the reason being is if I hurt myself, I got to have someone to drive me to the hospital, and I don't want Valerie to get hurt. So we are getting ready to go to Florida for our Christmas. And so one of the things that you guys know that we like to do is ride bikes. And one of the big complaints I've always had about a fifth wheel is the hitch. The hitch takes up your entire bed space. With this hitch, I don't have room for all my bikes. And so we are going to put on a Gen Y hitch on our sport track today. One of the things that I wanted to do when we ordered our sport track is I wanted them to change this out. And I knew they were testing the Gen Y hitch, but they hadn't approved it for this fifth wheel yet. I didn't want to void my warranty, which is one thing I highly recommend if you're swapping out your pin box. Make sure that it's approved for your frame and manufacturer. So that's what I'm gonna do today. So this is not a sponsored video. This is all my stuff. This is something that I'm gonna do myself, and I just want to show you guys the difference in the space, kind of the process, how to do it by yourself actually. And all you really need to do this by yourself is electric impact if you got one, or a good socket set, a good torque wrench, and a slightly wore out S10. So the plan is, and I'm gonna show you guys this, back my truck up to that, stand it up on its end and just kind of flip it up into this truck, and I'll back the little red truck next to the white truck and repeat the process. And then I'm actually gonna put the hitch together or in the truck, and then I'll put the ball in the truck, and then I'll slide the hitch up on it and let the ball kind of hold the hitch. Make sure you wear leather shoes. That way if you drop the hitch on your foot and you crush it, it's much more painful taking your shoes off. No, all jokes aside, you know, wear boots or something when you do this. That way if you do drop something on your feet, you know, it somewhat protects them. This is not a how-to. This is a how I'm doing it. Do this at your own risk. I'm just an idiot learning how to do this all by myself, and I may or may not read the instructions. I want to get rid of this companion. Now, I really like the B&W stuff. I'm not sponsored by B&W, not affiliated with them at all, but the goal of this is to get rid of this big hitch and just have this in the back of my truck. And the great thing, I have a B&W turnable ball in this, and so when I'm not using the ball, you simply pull it out, turn it upside down, and it goes flush with the bottom of your bed. Valerie, she doesn't have a mic on. She said it looks like a trophy.
That's your Oscar?
I just want to thank everyone for all your support and everyone who believed in me. And I'd like to thank my producer, Valerie. And I just want to say thank you, Jesus, for believing in me and giving me all this God-given talent.
So first thing I'm gonna do on this is I'm gonna get all these bolts here out. I'm gonna leave a couple in. I went and got me some handy dandy punches this morning. Hobo freight, $4. So, you know, there you go. And then the plan is once I get most of these bolts out and loose, I'm gonna back my truck up under this and then take that hitch and clamp onto this. That way when I pull all the bolts out, the hitch will support my MORryde. I'm gonna leave a couple in just so it doesn't fall on me. That's gonna be fun. So there's a gusset on this MORryde hitch. What I mean by gusset, it's like a piece of metal that comes down like this in front of one of them bolts. This is a locking nut, and you can tell but it's got these marks on the outside. So when it comes off, you want to have these marks to the outside. One thing I did, and dealers won't do it, won't sell them or buy them from you, but the thing I did, that companion, so I'm a big fan of the companion. I'll tell you why. When you close a hitch on the kingpin of the companion, it's got two jaws that kind of come in and lock like that. And you physically see them do that. Where a lot of the fifth wheel hitches are like a semi-trailer, a semi-truck, where it has a plate that kind of sits like this. And when you back it under the kingpin, the plate pops up and it pushes on this ring here, and that's what holds it into there. And you can adjust that plate some. I don't know a ton about them, but I've just never been a big fan of it, because if you get that spring break, you know, then it falls or something, that can be an issue. Or those clamps it's just a mechanism. So when you clamp it, they're clamped. You put a pin in it, it's not going anywhere. I'm going to keep all this when we send this one to its new family, whenever that day is. If they want to be able to pull it on a kingpin like this, then I'll just put it back on. So it's not a super big deal. But for us and with me having a short bed truck, and as much as we like to ride bikes and take bikes with us, I just want more space in my bed, and this kind of achieves that. Plus it's supposed to ride better. So what I'm gonna do here is this bolt that I gotta get to is this one right here, which is actually pretty easy to get to. This one is finger tight in there. I'll probably go ahead and loosen this one up a little. That way when I back it up on my truck up under it, I can just kind of reach in here, unloosen them, pull the pins out, drive the truck straight forward, and this should be free. So I'm gonna leave this top bolt here in, and I'm gonna take that bolt there out, or not out, but I'm gonna leave it finger tight, and then everything should be loose. All right, she is loose as a goose. So now we're gonna back this truck up under here. I'm gonna put this hitch on my truck, clamp it in, take the bolts out, and just drive straight forward, and this should be out. What in the world you got going on? I literally just unhooked her and backed up straight. I'm gonna pull up just a hair. Try to take some pressure off them pins. Now this side is not so much in a bind, so I'm gonna let the trailer here do its thing here real quick. Landing gear mode, extend. May need to get some new bolts, we'll see. See where my wrench is, I just gotta get that bolt off. I'm gonna pull these. Only thing holding this hitch on are these two bolts. Of course, my truck's pushing those bolt there, and there's one there, and there. I gotta take those out, and that's the only thing holding that hitch on, and it's gonna fall. Man, tell you when I do stuff, I spend more time picking crap up than I do actually doing it.
Been doing your yoga?
No, I don't do that old man yoga like you do. All right, so I got one bolt left in it. And I expect this thing to fall, so I'm gonna get out of the way. So the reason I did it this way is this hitch is loose now, and it's sitting on my companion hitch there. So I'm letting the truck and the trailer do the work. And so in theory, and I don't know how it's gonna work because we're gonna be on a ball, so it's gonna be like, in theory, we're just gonna reverse this process. I'm gonna pull up, take the companion out, set it in front of my truck because I'm gonna go put it away when we're done in our storage unit. And then I'll set the ball in, get the Gen Y in the back of the truck, put it on the ball and let the ball support the Gen Y. And I should be able to, don't know how many bad words it's gonna take. It's gonna take a few. Get that in there, no problem. Step 472, a success. Remember how I told you I dropped all my nuts? Well, there's my nuts. Speaking of dropping nuts, if you're old or you're not in very good shape, be careful that you pick all this up and you don't drop your own nuts. That would be really, really bad. We're about to find out how heavy this thing is. And as far as the in shape comment goes, I'm not in very good shape, but I was blessed from my daddy to have big bones, and so I'm fairly stout. Oh shit, that's heavy. I need a nap. From one of the great philosophical movies of all times, and Valerie's favorite scene, like the little boy tells his granny in Talladega Nights.
I gotta tell you, Granny, this blows.
So one of the reasons I like this hitch is, and like I say, this one's a used one, is it's really simple to take out. As you guys know, the next truck is way older than this thing. So this is a two-part hitch deal setup, and it works with a B&W turnover ball. The cool part about this is with a B&W turnover, when you're not using your ball, you drop it in like that, you got your whole bed. And then with the hitch we're running, if I'm running my hitch, that's all that's in my bed. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna back my little truck up to that white box. And I'm just gonna flip it up in the back of this truck, and I'll pull my white truck up, repeat the process. Step one, done. So funny story about this S10. I bought it and I thought I'd have a cheap little truck drive in. Paid $750 for it. Didn't have a motor in it, put a motor in it. And anyway, it's not been as cheap as I thought. And that's how you put a hitch in the back of your truck by yourself. So the first time Olivia rode in this truck with me, it's got manual windows, locks, you know, the good stuff. She's like, went to roll the window up. And she's like, how do I roll the window up? And I said, you crank it. And she's like, what's next? Am I gonna churn butter? Pretty. That's gonna be a flat tire. So the plan is, I'm gonna flip it around and set it on that ball. And then I should be able to back the truck underneath of it and have a hitch ready to go on my truck. What could possibly go wrong? So now when I get underneath the truck, I just gotta pick up on the back of this, put my bolts in. Change of plans. Have an idea. My tailgate under it. Yeah, I think I can cock it up in there and get the back bolts in and then pick up on the front and then just put the front bolts in. It doesn't seem as heavy as 200 pounds. We're gonna try that first and then we'll try this other way. Valerie asked me if this was as heavy as the other one. And honestly, it's probably about the same. I think trying to leave it on the ball and do it and get it in would be really difficult to get it just lined up just right. I have an idea, Valerie. Can you let down on the camper? Retract. Oh. Joe.
We got 3 sons. 3 sons. Where are they at?
Football game. I can retract.
Retract?
Yeah, let's go. A lot. Actually, stop for a second. Raise it up. Extend. Stop. Now we're getting somewhere. Huh. All right. Well, that sucks.
What sucks?
I look like my bolt holes are lining up.
The hitch doesn't fit?
Yeah.
Why would you get a hitch that doesn't fit?
Well, I had all the right part numbers, but see how these bolt holes are off by like half a hole? I don't know that I can pull that forward. Maybe. You know? I'm choosing my words carefully. I'm gonna call Gen Y and see if they'll send me a different hitch. And see if I can send this one back. I'm gonna pick up on see if you can shove a bolt in that one.
There's no way. There's not enough space. You can. No, it makes the hole smaller.
Oh.
It needs to go down. This needs to be lowered.
Well, we're about to find out how good a service Gen Y has, because this bolt pattern is off by half an inch probably, 1/4 inch, half inch. And when these things are that tight, they, yeah, that's just not gonna work. So the plan is I'm gonna call them, it's Saturday. Ain't nothing happening today. I will call them on Monday, see what I gotta do to send this one back and get the right one sent to me. All right, guys. The last time you saw me, I was aggravated because, well, it didn't fit. So I'm gonna tell you a little bit about that experience. Well, the part they sent me was off by 1 number, so we'll just go with mistakes happen, not a big deal. This was Saturday when we were working on this thing. I sent Ashley at Gen Y an email. She got with me first thing Monday morning. I had a new hitch in the driveway Tuesday. They picked up the old hitch. So as far as exchanging them goes, it's actually pretty easy to do. Really good company to work with. So we're back to where we were the other day. I'm gonna try to get this thing set in. Fun fact, if you're gonna do this by yourself and if you can meet the delivery guy, when he drops your hitch off, they have a lift gate on their truck. If you back your truck right up to his truck, slide it right in, easy peasy lemon squeezy. She looks like she's gonna line up. So, like I say, I'm just gonna put a couple of bolts in it. Much better. So I'm looking at the way I got my hitch placement, and so this is setting about how it's going to sit in the back of our truck. And you can see how much room I got between the bed rail and the top of my camper, which is about where it was at the other day. And I think we'll leave it like that because the ball has about an inch gap on the bottom of it. You can't see it because there's a box in my truck, so it's actually going to be about an inch higher. So that should be good. So I'm going to throw a few bolts in it just to hold it in place. And then it's Thanksgiving, everything's closed. I got to go to the hardware store tomorrow, get some grade 8 bolts, bolt this thing up, and we're done. This hitch on the inside, you can see that, so it's got a groove slot there. So I'm going to leave it in there for now, but the bolt hole below it has just a drilled, so it'll be a snugger fit, a snugger fit. And I am going to put a couple extra bolts in this guy when I put it back together. All right, guys, we are stuck until I go to the hardware store. All right, guys, so I went to TSC, went and bought some bolts. So Gen Y does do a bolt kit, and honestly, I went to Tractor Supply Company. You can buy hard bolts in a bulk, which is about the pound. And it turns out it's quite a bit cheaper to do it that way. The only difference between the bolt kit you get with Gen Y, they send you locking nuts, which locking nuts are expensive. They're like $3 or $4 a piece. Tractor Supply, the one around the corner here, didn't have any locking nuts. So we're gonna use a little thread locker. Good enough. When I got this camper, it only came with 5 bolts in the hitch, and which is fine, I guess, because that's how they do it at the factory. But I'm gonna go on and put 6 in it, just for the simple fact that I got 6 holes. So we're gonna put a hole in every one. So I'm gonna start slapping these in, take these ones that I put in the other day out, and then replace them with the harder bolts. These are all grade 8s. You see the notches? That's what gives you. So I've got, what is that, 6 notches. And I know many of you are watching saying, why isn't Valerie helping you? Well, I want to show you guys that you can do this by yourself. I wish when they sent these to you that they would say, like, if you had this hitch and you have this pin box or whatever, use these set of holes for your hitch. That way you'd be exactly where you were. I'm trying to run this one down a little because there's going to be some flex in this part, and I don't know how much this moves up and down once you load it. And so I'm down a hole. I can go up a hole if I need to. We'll see. It looks like it's about an inch maybe if I go up, maybe 1.5 inches. But I really want to run it down because a lot of you guys know I'm also working on this this old square body, and I need to pull this hitch down in the lowest part because, well, that square body is going to be lowered, and I want to make sure that I can kind of keep my geometry correct so much that if I pull it with the camper with this truck or my other dually that's coming, that I don't have to move this. So when you're pointing like this, you gotta tell me, is it like this much or is it like this much? Because this just means go to the left. Okay. Now I need to go that way, back towards you. A little.
Okay, you can't hear me over there.
Valerie, I need to go towards you. Your point.
I said to the left. this much. This way, this much.
Valerie, it needs to go that way that much.
No, your truck needs to go that way. I'm talking about moving your truck that way. You think I mean the hitch needs to go that way?
I've got to go towards you. You've got me too far to the left. I need to go to the right.
Right, your hitch needs to go to the left. Okay.
No.
Bring the truck to the right.
That's not what.
Just
How-
get in the truck. Get in the truck. I got this.
How am I gonna?
I'm moving. I'm changing sides.
How am I
Go
gonna
on,
move the
go-
hitch?
go
I
on,
got to move the
go
truck,
on.
not the hitch. Thank you. She's pointing in the right direction.
More. More. You need to go to the right. More.
All right.
I mean, how difficult is this, really?
Apparently very. I'm gonna get a camera. We'll see what we're doing. Nope, I don't like that. Looks like I need to pull up a little bit. Yeah, I'm not too worried about it. It should go on down on there. That's what I thought when I put it on, is I lowered this thing a hole, and I think it's perfect. So now I'm gonna get back off this, pull my truck out from underneath of it, and tighten it down for real. Years ago, I bought a camp when I bought my very first camper. He told me, "Do you want to be able to take your thumb, your fist, and your thumb like that?" And I don't know if this is true or not, and I might be making this up. And maybe I'm misremembering. So take your fist and your thumb, and as long as you're not touching this, it's about right. So I do think, I don't know that I can lower it anymore, but I like where that one's sitting, and it's what I wanted. So we're gonna get off this thing. I'll tighten those bolts down, and we'll hook this thing up and pull it forward here in just a few minutes. But look at all the space we made in the bed of the truck.
I was pointing.
Come back.
I was pointing in the right direction. You need to learn right and left.
Oh, you need to learn. You need to tell me what's going right and left. So what I'm gonna do is I got me some medium strength thread locker, Loctite, and I got the blue. I'm not trying to get super crazy with it. I'm gonna tighten these bolts up, and I got one other step to do. I still gotta put my safety chains in, which I'll show you guys here in a minute. I need to go get a carabiner for my disconnect. I'll do. I might have one in the truck. I'll do that. And this is pretty much done. So it's actually not too bad of a job. I worked on this one over the course of 3 days, over a week and a half, but you know, we had fitment issues, and then I had issues with you know, not having the bolts, and then we had Thanksgiving that was mixed in there, so I wasn't trying to mess up Thanksgiving either. So now, one thing I recommend, and this doesn't matter if you do a Gen Y or any type of hitch and you mess with these bolts, something I highly recommend you do it, and actually do this from the factory. Get you a paint pen, draw you a line across your paint pen, and then line up your lines on your washer. And the reason you want to do this is if one comes loose, those lines will move. And so like when you're getting fuel and you're doing that part, it's a quick, easy visual inspection. And so the last thing I gotta do is put the safety chain in. Whenever you're towing with a gooseneck situation or a gooseneck hitch of some sort, you always want to have safety chains. Not that I personally think you really need them, you probably do need them, but if you get stopped and you don't have safety chains, you get a big old nasty ticket. This is a pretty easy setup here. Gen Y sends you this, you can see here, Bo, this has got this notch in it. You just basically feed your chain through, and then I'm gonna come over here to this other side. That's pretty even. Put this head back on there, this clevis back on real quick. When you're camping, you want to get them up out of the way, you just hang them up out of the way. Fun fact about this whole project, every tool that I used, with the exception of these, which I had to go buy, was in my camper. So highly recommend when you camp, make sure you have a good set of tools in your camper. Make sure you you know, you prepare for the worst. hope for the best. This is done. The only other thing I need to do, and I may run and get one right quick, is go get me a carabiner for my safety, just so that I can hook it in one of the loops inside my bed. I don't have to crawl up there every time. And I'll probably run over to TSC real quick and grab one of those. For those of you that don't follow us on Facebook, we can decide later if we're still friends or not if you don't follow us on Facebook. Our Next Adventure Facebook page. We have news that we've been withholding from you guys, and Valerie and I are expecting our first grandbaby, little baby girl. We're expecting sometime in March or April, and I have now adopted the old man name of Pops, and Valerie really got creative and went with the old lady name of Grandma. So we're going to be a Pops and a Grandma in about 6 months, I guess. Is that right? About, yeah, 6 months or so. So that will kind of change our travel plans a little bit for 2025, maybe. We'll see. But congratulations, Vova and Elizabeth. Just want to let you guys know we're expecting a grandbaby, and you know, it's going to be different. So we're excited.